the sector can become quite competitive.
Okay, yeah.
So, no, I won't go back
Yeah.
to Skelmersdale and do that. I don't. Well, at the moment. I mean, I spoke to Tim this week, and he's coming up shortly, and we, maybe we'll do something together or not. But I doubt it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had to move on from that.
Yeah.
So I found that 2 years after the MA, I still found it difficult because I'd spent those 2 years doing the MA working collaboratively, and it was just like it all came to an end,
mm-hmm.
and I had to pick up the pieces and start off on my own work, working by myself.
So what are you working on at the moment? You've just done a trip?
Yeah, I've done a trip to Turkey, and on that trip I collected mainly things like olive pips, the olive stones from the breakfast I'd had every day.
Okay.
Just little business cards, soap, shampoo, stuff like that from the hotels that we stayed at. Bits of stone from some of the...
So is there something about time? Are you marking time, perhaps, with the journey, or...?
I'm not... This might not come to anything at all. Yeah. I don't know. I just felt the need to sort of collect these things because I collect stuff. And I quite like the idea that I collect rubbish.
Yeah.
Or things that don't have any intrinsic value.
Okay.
I wouldn't be... I could never collect stuff that had intrinsic value because it's the sort of stuff you have to lock away in a bank vault or something, whereas I just like to pick up something that somebody doesn't see as value, but when you put it into an artwork, you transform it into something that has a value of sorts. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? I was thinking also about the way that objects are transformed when I worked in the Staff's Arts and Museum Service and their museum.
Right.
Because artefacts were coming in, social history mainly.
Yeah.
And so it was, a little piece of lace from somebody's wedding and it was marked up, 1920,
yes.
Or like the flowers from someone's veil, the wax flowers, they'd be like pushed away. And what was fun was that I was able to go through those stores and unravel them and look at things.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, but they belong to somebody. There's a really big history to them.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, from the exhibition in Northwich, I did sell a couple of pieces.
Yeah.
And the chap that bought it talked to me about this particular artist, Barton Medici Benes.
Matthew Olsen.
Yeah. And so I looked at the book online and thought, yes.
Celebrity relics. Oh, okay.
So and I think that's what sparked me off to do the collection of stuff. Yeah, yes. I've just put it into one of these print boxes for the moment, but I'll have to have a think about it. But I quite like this idea of... I mean, he's collecting stuff. Quite a lot of it has belonged to famous people. So he says. So
this is the collector Barton
Medici Benes.
Okay.
And he's an artist. He's a New York artist who died fairly recently of AIDS. But I just really like. Again, it's not of any value at all until you say, this is Woody Harrelson's piece of tape off his truck, or so he says. Yes. I like that idea with art. That I could say that those pips were eaten by Nefertiti or something like that. We're illusionists.
and it's also something about presentation, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is about the presentation.
Undocumenting and archiving.
A very museum.
It does kind of create
idea.
What's the word?
Well, it creates a sort of whole. I mean, if I did this from that trip, it's purely personal to me. I just think I quite like the idea of somebody's journey not being like video footage, but being something else as well. Now, I may make this piece of work and think it's really going to just bore people silly, in which case I'll bin it.
Yeah.
So I have to think about how I present that.
Is there some value in inverted commas to you doing, because it's a kind of performative act, isn't it? If you're doing it at the time, is that enough? In itself. Does it need to be presented, or does that complete it, or is
I don't
of
know.
interest?
I really don't. I mean, it's, you know, the whole thing about my work being rhizomic. It could just sit there for quite some time, and then
Yeah.
maybe 2-3 years hence I might go, yes, I know how I'm going to present that now.
Okay.
Which is what I'm actually doing at the moment. I spent an hour and a half this morning collecting acorns.
Oh right. On a walk.
On a walk. Came up with a bag because somebody gave me one of these. It's underneath there. A huge big demijohn, sort of great big one. Yeah, I've got 3 of them. And when she first gave it to me, what I thought I would like to do is to fill it up with acorns, and get somebody who's good at maths, because I'm not really good at maths, to work out what acreage of woodland that would be in that jar. And so that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm collecting. So I've had those jars for ages. I've had that idea for ages, and it may or may not come to anything. But it's kind of like a thread I've just picked up that's been, you know, it's just been in the background for some time.
It's nice to have those ideas simmering, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Because I've got this tree piece that I'm working on, which was interesting going to Turkey because they have these what they call wishing trees, which are covered in rags, or they're covered in these little blue beads.
Yeah.
And you quite often find them on the top of very special places.
Yeah.
So I've taken photographs of those. I didn't know that. I mean, this tree I was just making it as an amuletic tree, as a sort of continuum of the tree roots that I've been working on.
Yeah.
But I want to get sort of mixed in it sort of old stuff, like you've got Fatima's hand, you've got the blue bead to frighten away the evil eye, but I've also got Miss Kitty.
Okay,
You know, and I've got more stuff at home, little spaceship beads and things like that, so I want to sort of fill it with that.
And why do Turkish people do it?
I think it's quite an ancient, sort of like goes back to pagan times. I mean, obviously I've seen wishing trees in the UK, more recent ones, but I didn't know where they came from. I just thought it was someone's idea for a piece of work.
It's Yoko Ono who does lots of wish trees as well, doesn't she?
Who is that, sorry?
Yoko Ono.
Yes, she does. She does. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things you probably find it throughout the world.
Yeah,
you know, it's
right.
It's a really ancient thing. One of the places that we went to in Turkey is called Göbekli Tepe, and it's the oldest known. It's not a building so much. But it's got huge stone carved columns, and it's Paleolithic, Neolithic, Paleolithic. I'm not sure which came first. Paleolithic, I think. And it shoves human civilization another 10,000 years back, and on the top of that is a tree.
Oh right.
Which was how it was found. It's on the top of a tumulus, and there was a tree there. So there's all that connection with the tree roots that I've been collecting. That's my rhizomic brain going, oh, tree.
Yeah. So what have you got planned for? Are you going to keep working with small mythologies?
Yes. I mean.